Terrahawks, stay on this channel. This is an emergency.
Hello, welcome to another Eagle 6 video. This is going to be a video on how to dismantle the Tokyo Marui Sopmod M4 next generation recoil shock series. I want this to be a two-part video. The first part is going to be dismantling the front section, how to remove the outer barrel, that sort of thing for somebody who's doing something externally cosmetic to the gun, and then carrying on from that, I'm then going to take apart the rest of the gun. So if somebody wants to dismantle the gun completely or get to the gearbox, this video is going to be good for them. Also, the first part of it I'm going to cut up and do as a separate video as well as this one. So it's two-part for me. So cool. So I've got a brand new Tokyo Marui Sopmod, and yeah, I think I better get started. Literally never been out of the box. Just for you guys. Righty, where to begin? Bear with me guys, it's been a while since I've done one of these videos. Right. So I think we better start with removing the top section. What we want to do is get the when it comes to the front section, so we want to get the hop unit out and the inner barrel, otherwise we won't be able to remove this front sight over here. So we start with knocking out this pin. You're going to want some sort of wider Allen key just to knock it out, and something with a little bit of force. Friggin' pansy here. If you don't want to worry about marking anything, just use a little plastic bag. And just put it through. Part one. So when you're removing the top section, just pull this back here. Slide it forward, and the top section comes off. You can remove the blowback assembly here by taking the top spring off and then just lifting that off, and put that to one side. The blowback section here you can now remove by this little stopper at the back here. You just edge it forward with your thumb and then you can lift it out, turn it upside down, and then slide the whole blowback assembly backwards until this part comes out from inside the gearbox. Apart from that stopper at the back there, it should stay as one piece. So we put the stopper to one side. This part here has a little washer. If that's been crimped properly there, it should stay as one piece. Over time that tends to get loose and come off the end, and that's when you find that this all comes to pieces. Righty. Oh, look at that. Sopmod M4 with a U shape. A U-piece. Look at that. Changing it all the time, aren't they? So they've changed the SOCOM and now they've got the Sopmod one. And there we go. So that's the hop unit and inner barrel removed. So if you were doing just a barrel upgrade, you can now go ahead and do that. So what we're going to do now is take apart this, take off this outer barrel. Say for somebody doing something to the front end, some sort of cosmetic something. Alright, we'll move that over there. Right, so I think it's 2.5 on the top. And take off this top Allen screw. You pull this delta ring back and you can slide out the bottom one and the top. Okay, that leaves us with, we've still got the delta ring, which is like a 3-piece. You've got this outer ring, you've got this front part here which holds it all together, and then you've got the actual locking ring behind there, and then in between you've got a spring jammed in there. So we're going to need to remove all that. In order for it to, all this to come off anyway, we're going to need a we're going to need to take off this front sight. So yeah, we could just slide it all forward and then just undo the ring and it will come off, but without taking this front sight off. Just thinking about that now. Yeah, this bit all could come here, but then it's for the sake of the video I might as well do the whole disassembly, so I'll show you how to do it. So let's take off this flash hider. I think it's 1.5. So that's anti-clockwise, that's coming off. Put them aside. Right, and now we can take off this front sight here. The front sight has got there's 2 pins there that are holding it on. One side is smaller than the other. Working out which. We might just have to test it and see. Maybe a 2.5. My trusty block, little polystyrene thing. I don't like to hit on this thing here because sometimes that can bend. smaller one maybe. So I always do a little, if you know what I mean, just to sort of, you know, just see if you go in the right direction. And as you can see here, we've got the sort of torn up bits, if you know, to obviously cause it to grip in there. So roughed up edges. So yeah, that's coming out in the right direction. So that's the left side I've hit from there, just for future reference. I was using a 2 with the heavy. I love this tool, so I'll be honest, I use a hammer more than I do for taking off the 416 buffer tubes. Right, then just edge them out for the last little bit. Touch more. There we go. Okay, so 2 pins, and then underneath this hole is a grub screw. No matter how many times I seem to tell people this question, I guarantee will come up on Facebook or on our website somewhere, forum, again and again. But there is one, trust me. Pretty sure it's 2. Nope. Uh-oh. 1.5, I think. But now we're going to have to find one. Teach me for not being prepared. Let's try 2. There we go. So the unfortunately the GMP screwdrivers don't reach in there, so it's got to be a L-shaped one for that. And once it's loose, off he comes. Put that to one side. And that will screw off as well, come off as well. Again, try and group the parts together so you know where they are. Now all that's left is this screw here. Make sure that you get on it good and proper. There's a lot of leverage. I don't think the screw is going to be enough. Un momento, por favor. I'll be right back. Okay, so it's really important, obviously, when you're choosing screwdrivers and stuff, especially with these, to make sure that you get the right one. So that one was just, you can always feel it. You know, it's just not worth forcing it if it feels like it's going to slip at all. And then obviously round the head off. The main ones to watch for rounding are these ones, and then the two on the stock tube guide rails, which I'll show you in a bit. So make sure you get a good purchase on it. So much easier with the right tools. Okay. Again, try and group your bits. So we're sliding off now. Obviously the sort of cover. I think I've labelled this as part A, I think, on the website. So that one is what holds it all in place. And you've got the ring on top. And you've got the spring, which obviously goes small end first, down onto that. And then we have the actual locking part, which holds the stock tube on there. So often you can find when you're getting actual barrel wobble that it can actually be this part here loose. So everyone focuses on trying to tighten this screw, or trying to tighten the screw which is on top of the rail, but you can tighten those all day long. If this here isn't tight, then this thing's gonna wobble around. So have a play in it. Even right now, it doesn't move, but there's just tiny flecks in it. So so this part here it's important to keep that tight, and for that you need the laid axe tool. So which has got the smaller end there. That, or I've got to make like a custom one so that I can use for pretty much most things. I don't think we're going to have enough purchase on this. Oh, look at that, see how loose that is. I thought there was a bit of play in it. So that's a brand new Sopmod straight out of the box, and I can undo that with no problem whatsoever. So I guarantee you a few weeks use and that'll be wobbling loose, and then you get that much play. See, and all I've done is turned it a few millimetre, and it now moves all the way like that. That's how important it is to keep this ring here tight with the laid axe tool. Okay, slide that off. Then we have the U-shaped spacer underneath. It's U-shaped for a reason, so that, you know, obviously if your gun's front wide, so it comes through there, and that's where the front wire holes come through, and then out comes the barrel. There you go. So that is the first part of the video, so we'll just put this to one side. There's your upper receiver. So that's the first part of the video. I'm going to stop it there with regards to the first one, which I'm going to upload, so which will be how to remove the outer barrel, and now what I'll do is continue on the disassembling the other section, to show people the other part, which will be uploaded separately. Okay, thank you. So we're carrying on doing part 2, which will be uploaded as one giant video, so people can see how to disassemble the whole gun. So now we're going to move on to, let's take the stock tube off. So as with all others, we're just basically going to lift up this lever here. I'm going to push with our thumb until we can edge it up to the back where there's gearbox spaces. Look at those. So they've added the U-shaped piece and they've added the gearbox spaces. God. I literally took apart one of these a few weeks ago and they weren't on there, and that was a brand new one. Changing these things weekly. What if they've changed the manual? Right, there you go. So we're carrying on. So we're lifting up the adjustment lever, and then we're pushing back with our thumb so you feel a little bit of resistance. You don't want to. You want to make sure that you're pulling up enough so that you don't damage the stock tube contacts. Okay, so there they are, and it just slides off, and then we put it on our giant growing pile of parts. So now we can remove. Let's remove the mag catch, which is a 1.5. Get off. Stuck down. Not anymore. Group our bits. Let's take the rail guide off, shall we? So again, you know, make sure you get a good screwdriver. So this one's fairly wide. These little M2 screws here. So again, push hard. Again, I like to squeeze and then push with the right hand. Off comes the rail guide. There's a little wire guide here, cover. Put that to one side. Let's take off the wires next, shall we? Soldering iron. That easy. There's a previous method shown on one of my on my other video, the spring change one, so which works. So, but that was 5 years ago. It's honestly so much quicker just to do it like that. So, unless you're field stripping, I guess. So, again, purchase, and make sure you don't round that off. Just be careful with these, you don't drop them. So we take the quick connector off there, and the spring that goes underneath it. Right, so before we want to move on to this part and that part, we'll want to take off this at the end here. So now technically you could leave that as one whole unit here, but one, I need to show you so how to do it, so you know how to do it. Also, sometimes this can actually be stuck on there pretty tough, and you kind of need the gun to be in one piece to maybe sometimes wedge it between your legs or something, you know, to get a lot of, you know, grip on it, you know, in order to crack that off. My particular tool that I like to use for this one is it's a feeler gauge from like old school cars. So when you used to stick these in spark plugs and whatnot to measure them, the gap. Halfords, maybe a couple of quid, so it just works a treat for me. So just take the 1mm one, which is quite wide and quite strong, and get it into that little gap and just twist it round. This has been changed as well now compared to old versions, so they've now changed this to have a little O-ring on there, so that it just allows it to not get stuck on there and not have to Loctite the damn thing, so the pressure of the rubber just holds it on, so much better. So we put that to one side, recoil spring out, recoil weight out, and so the recoil weight has lots of it's kind of like a clear silicone gel that you get one for the unit. It comes with the original TM gears. They've also changed this to have a little spring on the end now, so right, so we've got to be careful of these wires, obviously, when we're taking off this stock ring here. And depending on how tight this is, we might be able to get away with this. We might have to go up to something a little stronger, something that I like this one because it's nice and wide, and I can smack it without it bending. Whereas this one will bend like a no problem. So just in fact, I've got a mashed one somewhere. So right, there's a pet peeve of mine marking anything, so I tend to cover stuff up. Let's try this one first, see what happens. It's not doing it by hand. Again, very useful HK wrench. So lefty loosey. Feel it give then. Look at that, even with that cover on you still get a tiny mark on there. But it's better than it slipping and being a skid down it. So it's handy with the, I'll show you a bit in a second. So just be careful of those wires. We'll start at the top. Loose enough now to come off. Just hold the wires down. Right, and then edge the spacer forward. Just wiggle it a little bit just to loosen it up. Come on. There we go. These spacers, they've got a flat edge there and a flat edge there, which matches up with the stock tube, so it turns with it. So obviously when this is pushed into there and flush against it, it doesn't move. So obviously be careful when you're fitting sling plates that don't have these flat portions on there, because say for instance you right then we're just turning that, you've got then a chance of it turning past that point there, in which case those wires are then going to start getting cut / mashed. So it's worthwhile pointing that out. You just have to be a bit more careful if you're using like a custom sling thing, something you've made yourself. And just pull the wires through one at a time. If you're worried at all about marking your brand new gun when you're doing this, I'd use some of this. It's penetrating and it's a lubricant, so it can often stop little tiny little scuffs, if you know what I mean, on the paint. Especially if you're having trouble with parts coming off. Okay, so now that stock tube, you can now turn up, undo it all. The grip's still on, and we've done that so we have good purchase on, you know, removing the ring and removing the bit at the back. When you're screwing these on, you can screw them on at different angles, so like that and like that. Just make sure that you sort of just lift it up slightly when you're screwing it on, and then thread it in, because you can thread it in and you find that your stock tube's pointing down a bit like that, so you've got to be careful when you're putting the stock tube back on. So put that on one side. Spring guide. That's how the spring guide is absolutely covered in lube. Yeah, remember that next time you complain about twang. Grip next. Again, one of those picky ones. If you feel it slipping, get a bigger screwdriver. Try and hold down the end plate. Little tap, out it comes, yeah. And then you have the spacer as well. Again, try and keep them together. And then we've got the motor connectors, so you just want to pop these off. 1 and 2. Notice how the wire routing, notice how it doesn't come down anything down this side here. Okay, so when you're reassembling, you're going to have black there and you're going to have red there. Okay, something that's worth noting. There's actually a channel which separates the two, so and that's going to give you proper motor movement. Yeah, that needs to be there. Okay, otherwise if you haven't got that, you're going to have problems with adjusting the motor. Like say for instance you'll adjust it, you know, going in, and then you want to obviously move it out, but the motor's staying there. Yeah, so and you're adjusting it thinking you're moving it, but you're not, because it's jammed in there. Yeah, so make sure you've got good movement. Okay, especially if you're going with aftermarket motors. Two more. Prefer the longer one. Just use that. Once it's off, you can, once they're undone, you can just start wiggling this out. Okay, put that to one side. Right, so now that's all that's left is a gearbox in the lower receiver, and then we've obviously got this mag release button. You can see there the bolt release catch assembly, and then obviously the selector switch. So pretty sure going all the way left, and then we're going to remove this pin here, and then that's going to free up the gearbox. Right, out that comes. It's called the trigger frame because it actually clips on a part of the actual trigger assembly, so it clips in there. Right, so we want to wiggle up to remove the bolt catch assembly, and then we want to wiggle back down but then forward like that. Okay, so the back comes out, and then it's just a matter of sliding it this way and then out like that. People often ask how to get that out because they can't do that bit. I just say wiggle back, wiggle forward, wiggle back, forward until it comes out, and it seems to work. There we go. So now it's just a matter of working on that, and then you put your lower receiver to the side, and it's now just a matter of removing your bolt catch assembly, your screws, and then lifting it off. If you're not doing any major work, try and make sure not to lose any of the shims and stuff. So if you're not going to be touching the gears, that way you keep your TM magic shimming. So and then yeah, then you can obviously change the spring, put it back together, and you've not really done anything apart from changing the mainspring. Yeah, right, cool. Right, so hopefully that's a nice new shiny video to go with all the other ones. Yeah, I've been meaning to do a sort of a new one that's not 5 years old for a while now. So hopefully that's it's been nice and clear, and showing you just how simple that is. I think we're at, including a lot of faffing, probably about 40-45 minutes, something like that maybe. So it's not too bad for taking one of these apart. So like I say, just take your time. If you're worried about scratching anything, like a little plastic bag or something. So like I say, that GT85, all those things can reduce your scratches. And then just take your time. Try and do it in that order that I've shown. So because like I say, it's for a reason, so that if you do get a stuck part, so it's not so much of a problem nowadays on the new ones. It's nice that they haven't dipped them in Loctite. It's not too bad. Yeah, it's if you just follow that video, you'll be fine, I reckon. Cool. Well, thank you very much for watching. If you have any requests for any other videos, just ping them through to info@eagle6.co.uk, and I'll try my best to get them done. Cheers. Thank you.